Welcome to another fun tutorial. So before we go into PHP, we have to download a program, basically a software that contains the Apache and PHP together inside. So it's basically like you see the most popular PHP development environment. Because we cannot run PHP into the browser directly, we need a web server. So we basically run it on the web server, which can be an Apache or Nginx, they're the most popular. So just go ahead to the Xampp met with 2p, this one. Click on it, it's free. And download for Windows, Linux or Mac OS. I already have downloaded it, so I'm going to open it. And I'm going to come here. And I'm going to do start. And there we go. If it doesn't start, check your task manager and close any port you have. For example, you might have a Skype open or another server running. So you need to close this in order for this to start, because if they are on the same port, it's not going to work. Okay, awesome. Now, if you want to access the folder where this is, you can just go to Explorer, I think. Yeah, here. And our project is going to be in this htdocs folder. So this index.php is going to be where the htdocs is going to contain my PHP files. Before you do anything, install this Xampp, run the Apache server, and access the htdocs, create an index.php file if there is not one, and then we start coding. Awesome. Alright, let's begin with writing some PHP. So we have this index.php. I have my Xampp started here. You see the Apache server, web server is running, because in order to use PHP into the browser, we have to use a web server, right? In order to see this here. So the way to write PHP is first you create a file called that has a PHP extension, right? .php, and then you write left arrow question mark PHP. This is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag question mark right arrow. Pretty straightforward. Now between here goes code, right? PHP code. Let's see. We should start with printing out something on the screen, which is a standard thing we do when we learn a new language. So we're going to use this echo, which is a PHP inbuilt function, and we're going to say hello world. And then we have a semicolon, which is the end here. And there we go. Hello world. Echo. Now if we want to use a variable, which is a container that holds some data, we can say world. So we use the $sign to declare the variable. And this is the name of the variable. So this variable holds the value world. So I give it this value. I'm going to delete this word under here in the string. And then I'm going to concatenate with a dot symbol here. I'm going to refresh, and then we see hello world. Now I see I need a space here. So I can either do this, leave a space in the string, or I can do this. Same we do in JavaScript. And then I refresh, and it's working. Let's see. So we have variables that store data, same thing as in JavaScript, where in most of the programming language, the popular ones, and maybe all of them, I don't know. There are so many nowadays. So, but for example, if you do LaTeX is hello alert x, it's exactly the same thing. We have a variable that holds this value. This is for very beginners, but I want you to understand it's just naming that. And this outputs the value of the actual variable. But let's not do JavaScript, let's do PHP. So back to our basics here. So this is a string. Let's go into the data types of PHP. We have string, we have integer. Actually, you know what? Let me do this. First name. Let's create a person here. Let's say Mike. Age is, let's say 24. Not 24, but let's say for that. So this is going to be an integer, right? It's a number. Integer can be a positive or a negative number. So we have integer, and then we have, say, male is true. I'm a male. So this is going to be a boolean, and boolean is a data type that holds true or false value. And we can say characteristics. I hope I did write this correctly. Or let's say traits maybe. Handsome. So in this one, we are going to, this is an array. So you see this brackets. In the brackets, we're going to add some values. And that's the thing, the difference with this is a variable too, but it stores an array, right? This contains this array. So the difference between an array and a variable is that the variable can hold multiple data inside. So I can do like, for example, handsome, smart, you know, I don't know, successful, or whatever you want to add. It's good to add positive stuff, you know. Anyway, so this holds, for example, some values. So this contains 3 items inside, and whereas this is just a string here. So I can actually output these. I can either use a loop and loop through the items, or I can just do, for example, echo traits and output the one which is going to be smart. Now we have a problem here. Yeah, it's because I changed the word variable before, so I'm going to remove this. So let's leave it, and let's say smart here. And it's a 0 based. Arrays are 0 based, so it means that it starts from 0, 1, 2. So 1 is going to give me smart, 0 is going to give me handsome. But yeah, I will probably touch on that after. Awesome. We have also objects. Objects are a bit hard to explain right now, but I'm gonna do this new std class, which is a way to define an object. An object is basically, it could be, for example, a person, it could be a car, it's like an entity which has many different, where we distribute, for example, a person has like a, or let's say a car is maybe easier. What color is it? You know, what model and all this stuff. But I think we should not get into the objects right now, to be honest. But just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just gonna explain you what I mean. It's an object is a class, okay? So let's say, for example, if this was a person, us up here, if this was, for example, a person, so this object is a person, right? So we're gonna say person, his name is going to be first name and last, there was no last name up there, so we're gonna say, and yeah, Presley. So yes, so this is defining the person's name. You know, you can say person last name, person email, person and hair, you know, hair color and all this stuff. So you give this person different attributes, and then you can use the object and, you know, access it everywhere. So objects are really nice if you use object-oriented programming, and PHP uses a lot of that. So many people that use it. So I'm gonna do a different tutorial into objects, but let's just output this echo person. If I try to output this, it's not gonna work. Could not be converted to string, and it makes sense because it's an object. So we need to do this to access the actual name of the object. So this is a property. So now it's gonna give me Presley. Actually, it should give me this also. Defined. It's because yeah, you see it's case sensitive, yeah. So it has to be exactly the same as this one. So now it's giving me this. I actually don't like to leave spaces in the string. I think it's better to do this. It's more clear. And there we see Mike Presley. So you can give anything to this person now. You can give anything, any attribute you want, so on. Anyway, if you don't understand this, it's okay. That doesn't matter, because objects are for more advanced, in my opinion. They're more advanced. They're there for later. This is a very beginner tutorial. So I will make a tutorial on that too. Awesome. And I think, yeah, it's one more. It's, let's say hair color is null. Now null is not false, it's not true, it's not zero, it's nothing, it's just null. It's like nothing, but we use it because we're going to define something into that variable after. So maybe we have a function and then we write hair color is blonde, but maybe we don't know that, so we just define it. We just start with null and then we're gonna give it another value maybe, or maybe it's gonna be null, I don't know, but we don't know. That's why we use null usually. Awesome. So string, integer, boolean. I'm gonna write an array here. I'm going to write a class, sorry, an object, not a class. I'm gonna write a null, and that's it. I think these are all. Ah no, the float, of course. Wait, the float. So let's say height is 1.86 and it's float, because float is it has decimal points. When it's not decimal, it's an integer. When there are decimals, it's a float here. And that's the data types of PHP. Congratulations, you learned them. Now you know them. That's it. Just play around and you will, yeah. They're almost the same in many languages. So, and I'm actually going to write, float. I'm going to write data types. So now let's go to the next part. We said we can output, for example, the age, which is going to output 24, correct? Oops, what happened? Male is true. Now, why didn't this work? Let's see. Yes, I forgot the semicolon. Save, refresh, and 24. Now, the beautiful thing with PHP is we can write HTML inside. So we can echo and we can write, for example, br, break tag. And now this 24 is going to jump on the next line because we have a br. Now you can see this here. Inspect and see the br. So in PHP I write HTML. It's amazing, right? So oh, I closed it. Wow. Yeah, forgive me about that. Let me. But yeah, it's pretty cool that you can actually do that. Combine PHP and HTML together. It's actually a reason many people are don't like a PHP is because it's very simple and you can make a lot of mistakes if you're not careful. Because it's so simple, you can really mess up with your code, you know. And yeah, you want to be careful with your code always. Awesome. We wrote this data types. We are here, and now we are going to the next level. But before that, let's write some HTML. Div. Sorry. Now this is a closing tag. So what happens if I write here HTML? It's gonna work perfect because now we are writing HTML. It is a PHP document, but you can write HTML without problems. Just close the tag, because if I write div here, it's not gonna work. It's gonna complain. Unexpected. Because it has to be outside the PHP tags, or you can use it inside the echo as a string. So yes, now I'm going to write some HTML, but I'm going to add PHP in the HTML. Now look at this. Div, let's say p style is font size 24 pixels, background red. Close the p tag, and now we go there. I think I need to minimize a bit. So, and then I'm gonna do echo. If I do echo, it's not gonna work because it's still HTML. So again, opening tags to write PHP, closing tag, and within here I write whatever I want. So I am a paragraph. Woohoo! And semicolon. Refresh, and there we go. Now this is HTML, it's not PHP. But inside the p tag I added PHP. So you can add it wherever you want. And that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, let's give it some padding to make it a bit better. Padding to say 2 rem, 32. Yeah, and let's say color white. There we go. Now look at this. We have PHP and HTML code together. Now it is HTML still, but this is just a string PHP outputs. So again, you can see if you inspect, you can see the string, you see the codes here. So this is coming from PHP. Yes, now let's actually go to if loops, if statements, sorry, if loops. That's something you never know. So opening tag PHP, and we're going to create something here. I'm gonna say weather is hot. So this variable contains this string, which is hot. And we save this because we wanna use it now. So if I say now, for example, if parenthesis weather is hot, echo it's hot. You can also use this to escape it. It's called escape, because if you use this, it's not going to work. It's going to close the string, so you need to escape it. It's hot, so you see, and it outputs it's hot. And the reason is because it says if the weather is hot, it's going to output this thing. So if this is true, it's going to output this. Else, echo, it's not hot, bro. So this is not coming out now because on the screen, because this is actually true. So it never goes to the else statement. But if I say cold or something else that is not hot, then we're gonna get this one. If loops, right? Now, if I say, if it's just weather, if it's weather, what do you think is gonna happen? The first one, because remember this gets this checks if it's true or false. So this weather is true; it holds a value. Now, if I remove this, now I'm gonna get undefined variable because it's not defined anywhere. So it's like, where do you see the weather? What's wrong with you? Like, what is this weather? I don't know what it's about. So I'm gonna say weather is, say null. What's gonna happen now? It's not hot, bro, because null it's not true or it's not false. It treats it like it's false here because it's null. It's like kind of empty. You could say empty. Yeah. Now if we say, for example, if weather is okay, so let's say cloudy. If weather is hot, it's hot. But now we can say also else if weather is cloudy, echo it's cloudy. And there it goes. So we have if, else if, and else. So that's all you need to know about if statements. Pretty simple. Now another thing here I want to mention here is that we have, for example, if we say number is 2 And if we say if number is 2, oh sorry, let's say this. Let's make it this is a string, right? It's not a number, it's not an integer, it's a string. But now if I say if number is 2, echo it's true. Sorry, echo true. And what do you think is going to happen now? Because this is a string, but I say if number is 2, echo true. Wow, this is wrong, right? But PHP is smart enough to understand that this is number 2. Now, if you want to be specific, there has to be 2 and it has to be exactly an integer. You know, it has to be exactly specifically. Then you use 3 equal signs. So this is gonna output nothing, which means it's false. And that's the difference, because 3 is for like strict comparison, I think it's called something. And the 2 is for, you know, not so strict. Yes, so that's it for if statements. Now let's go to another thing, which is functions. Let me just scroll down a bit here. So functions, let's see, function, you can write function, sorry, and then you say, for example, say hi, brackets, parentheses, brackets, and then you say echo hi. Now what's going to happen? Well, nothing happens. Why? Because I didn't call the function. So I'm going to say hi. I call the function and then it serves me. It does something for me. If I don't call it, nothing happens. It's just there. So now it says hi, and I'm going to do an echo br because we want to add a space, a line break. So it goes to the next one. So it's a bit visible. So there we go. We have hi. So that's basically a function. You did it. So now you learn the data types. You added some HTML in PHP. You added PHP with HTML. You mixed it up. Very good. And just don't mix it too much because it can be a problem. But now we have if statements here. You did this too. If, else. You learned the comparisons here. And you wrote your function. Functions are very important, as are the other ones. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say hi, and then I'm gonna say first name. Actually, I used first name a lot of times. So hi. Wait. I am a. I'm gonna use this. I am a. This is gonna return. It's not actually going to return. It's just gonna echo out. I am a. That's it. And then I'm gonna write concatenate. I am an something. I'm gonna write something. I hope this is not confusing you now. And then I'm gonna say something here. So this is going to take this value of the parameter of the argument here. So we're going to pass the parameter. This is the argument. It's going to be this something. Now, when I call this function, I'm going to say, so if I actually save and refresh, uncaught argument count error, too few arguments to function, say hi. 0 passed in. Because now I have one argument and I have passed 0, because when I call this function, I have to put something inside here. Otherwise, problem, my friend. So what I'm gonna do is say, I'm gonna say something. So I can, whatever I write now is going to be the something, whatever I write. So I can say, I am a robot. If I write a robot, call the function and just pass the robot inside, it's gonna come I am a dot robot. So look at this. You understand, right? So if I add something here, something 2, and if I say plus something 2 or concatenate, this dot sign is concatenate. So it means like, yeah, concatenate. I don't know how else to say it, like put it together. Like, so if I write something 2, I'm still gonna get this too few arguments to function. Say hi, exactly 2 expected, but only 1 passed. So if I say robot and then I say something else, it's gonna become this. And that's how you use functions, you know. You pass your parameters, you have your arguments. Yeah, that's it. And if you know that this is gonna be a string, you can declare it. You can say this is going to be a string. It has to be a string. Otherwise it's gonna give you error. If I write an integer, sorry, int, it's gonna give me error because this is a string and I give it it expects an integer. If I write int, it has, you know, this is for it not to make mistakes. So in the future you're gonna use this, declare your types and so on. Awesome. So we wrote a function too. So now I'm gonna use this string also. Let's jump to the next part. Let's actually do this also. Functions. And you can also add the return, of course. Return true. So if I say, okay. If I, let me show you one thing that is very important. So I should have shown you this before. We have the var dump. Yeah, make this your friend. You're gonna use this a lot. This is for debugging purposes. I use it all the time and everyone is using it. Everyone who uses PHP. So this is actually how you, for example, if you have okay, we have this number equals 2. We want to see what is in the number. I'm not gonna echo. I'm gonna do something more kick-ass, which is gonna be var dump. So it says that it contains one thing inside and it's a string and it's 2. But if I take the array I had here, the traits, and I var dump it, it has so many values inside. So look at this. It's gonna give me all these values. And if you want it to look a bit better, you can use this echo pre tag. So you can see it looks much better. And then it gives me exactly 0, 0, 1, 2. This is the indexed array. Remember 0 based. And the 0 contains handsome, 1 contains smart, and 2 contains successful, which is this here. It's very good for debugging. Now, let's see. If I do var dump and I say, actually, you know what, I'm gonna do this. If I var dump the function, wow, what's gonna happen? Look, it's gonna give me true. The reason it's because it's returning something. If I remove this, null. And the reason is because this function is not returning anything here if I don't use the return. So I need to I have to return something here. If you don't need always to return stuff, but usually you do it. And yeah. Anyway, for this, let's add the return true now, which we wouldn't need it for a function as this, but in a function like this, we would never use in say hi. I don't think you usually would create a function to do that for you. Yeah. Now let's leave this here so you don't get confused. Unexpected end because we have no semicolon. And yeah, we have it. And I think, yeah, okay. So now it's the loops. Functions, if statements, loops. Programming languages, you know, they're all the same things. Let's create a for loop. Let's see. For loop is going to be this. I'm going to give and declare I is going to be 0. Or you know what? Let's write for x is 0, like in JavaScript. X is smaller than, okay, we need something to loop through. I'm gonna loop through these traits because it's an array, it has some items inside. So I'm gonna take these traits and I'm gonna loop through that traits. And then I'm gonna say x plus plus. So what's happening here is the x is 0. We declare this variable now. We say x is 0. As long as x is under 0, as long as x is smaller than the length of the traits, which means I have forgot something here. Because traits is an array. I need to get the length of it. So I'm going to use an inbuilt function called count, which is going to do this. But I'm going to show you so you don't get confused. If I do echo traits, it's going to give me an error because I cannot echo an array. I can echo the elements inside. If I do 0, like we said before, it's going to give me Handsome, which is the number 1 item. But if I do count traits, this function, which is a PHP function, is going to give me the how many items are inside this array. And now I forgot the $sign, so it's giving me undefined constant. And now you see 3. It makes sense, right? There are 3 items in the array. So now I have the length of the array, and then I know I can just loop and say count if x is smaller than 3, then increment x, and then I want you to echo the traits, and x is going to be 0, 1, 2. So echo traits and this, and it's gonna output everything. I can also concatenate it, say, and use this br, so they can go to the new line. So what's happening now is I want to output the items of the array, so I need to go through each of them. So I need an index, if I use 0, 1, basically this is the same as doing, let me show you, it's exactly the same thing as doing traits 0, 1, 2. It's just the loop is doing that for us, so we don't need to write this. Imagine if you have like 1,000 items, are you just gonna do this? No, a loop does it for you in one line. So if I refresh, here the same thing. So that's what a loop does. You probably know that, but I just say it. So for those who maybe don't, it's good to be clear for everyone. Now we have the forage loop, which is my favorite. So when we loop through arrays, we usually use for each. And I'm going to loop through the same array. Or actually, you know what? Let's create a new one. Let's say fruits is apples, oranges, bananas, kiwis. So, and now I have this array. We said we had this contains these items. So for its traits as trait. Now you're like, what the hell is happening? What is this? Echo trait. So what's happening now is for each is saying this. Okay, take these traits. Traits, fruits. I wrote wrong. Jesus. Sorry, I've been working all day today. So for each fruits as fruit. So what's this gonna happen is exactly the same as here, but the fruits is gonna be the fruit is gonna be each item here in the fruits. So fruit is gonna be apples, fruit is gonna be oranges, bananas, kiwis. So it's gonna do the loop for us, but we don't need to add this, if x is smaller than the length, blah, blah, blah. It does this for us, and it says fruit is going to be each item every time. So if I echo fruit, actually let's add the paragraph tag here. Closing tag. And we can also add the style. Oh, style is font weight bold. There we go. Apples. Look how easier it was than doing this. Output it a bit better. And let's do a br. So it says it's an array with John and Maria. This is a first index, this is the second, but it starts from 0. So what does it mean is, by the way, the Var Dump, you can see the difference with the Var Dump and the print R. Print R. So you see it's a bit different. Here it writes an array, how many items it has inside. This doesn't. And the var dump is a bit better, I think, in this context. But the printar looks much better when you print out arrays. You see it's much... These are too many things here. Too many data, you know. We don't need it now. And this is more... If you have a large array, you don't want all this that you're gonna get. Yeah. So printar, yeah, it depends on what you wanna see. Because this says a data type also. So if this was a 2, this would be an int. See? So with the var dump, you can see the data types also. Awesome. So what's the comments? We didn't look at the comments. Comment, you can use this hashtag hello comment 1. This is not gonna show. See, I refreshed. The next comment can be, you can use this, and you can say comment 2, or you can also use this for single lines, this hashtag and this one, whereas this you can wrap up a lot of stuff inside. So for example, if I can comment this out, single line, but if I want to comment all of this out, I will do this. So forward slash or backward slash, and what's this? Backward slash maybe, and this star asterisk, and then it comments out all this. Now I can write something here. Now we see it's commented out. Bam. So let's do this. So, say comment 3. Okay, so now we know how to comment in PHP. Awesome. Let's see what else. Now we have the functions, for example, string functions, which I'm gonna check here. PHP String Functions. There's so many. Look at this. All these inbuilt functions you can use. For example, echo is also a function, you know. But let's say, for example, the count was also a function we used, but it was for arrays, not for strings. Let me see. String. Yeah, pretty popular. UC first, maybe it's good to use now. So this UC first, you can find all of this in the documentation, php.net, in the manual. Now this is going to capitalize the first character, or turn it to uppercase. So if I say UC first, and I do mic with the small letters, it's gonna turn it to uppercase. I think the other one is string lower. This is going to do the opposite. If it's gonna turn it to lowercase. And you know, you have many like kind of similar functions, very common used. Yeah, I think we can actually look here, because maybe here. Strlen, yeah. Strlen is like count, but for strings. Count is for arrays. It's a function for arrays. So strlen, how many, okay, say test, this should equal to 4, right? 4 characters. Yes. 100 BRs. So yeah, this counts as the length of the string, how many characters. Word count also, test, word n, word 1, word 2. 11. 11. Ah, yeah. What's the name? Word string word count. I don't think I've used this one. Yeah, maybe sometime. So 2 words. Yeah, anyway, I'll not spend more time on this, but you have these functions. String replace is actually very good. Let's see, string replace, and you take, okay, world test, hello test. It was wrong written, of course. So array functions were like count an array, for example, this names, which is an array. 2. So these functions you have to look for yourself when you want to, for example, turn to uppercase or use a function to slice or splice and all this stuff. You can just Google and check in the documentation and you'll find it. Awesome. Now, yes, we can also check the switch. Now, switch is, for example, if you have a condition, you want to check the conditions of something. So you say, if, for example, color is green, then you say switch color. Now this is going to be the input, right? So we're going to give this the input. Color, it's going to check. Now we say case green, case green, semicolon, and then say echo it's green, or let's say I am green. But if you, and then you can continue this, conditions. Case red, I'm red, and so on. And then we have to use break to break the switch. Otherwise it's gonna run forever. So I'm green. Now this is used when you have like many, when it takes many conditions, So every time it wants to find something, it's gonna break, find it, break, do something, and then end the function, the switch. So yeah, I don't think you need it now, but anyway. But if we do red, I'm red. Yes, and so on. Yes, I'm not touched so much on that. Mostly, I think we are done with most of the things. We can echo. There's an inbuilt function called date. So if I do this and I refresh, expects at least one argument. Now you have to write year, month, date. You can write whatever you want because these can take many. There are different. You can now output this in a different ways. You can write year, month, date. You can use hour, like minutes, seconds. You can use year, month. Wait, how is it? Year, month, date. You know, there's so many formats you can write. So yeah, but you get the point. So yeah, you can you have the date. It's pretty cool, right? And yeah, I don't know where you can find this somewhere. This string date formats, or what they called formats. Yeah, PHP Date Formats. Yeah, here you have some. Here. Yeah, there you go. Because you can also, for example, if I write L, I'm on the cell. Yeah, it says Tuesday, so it says the name of the day, the L. So these are pretty cool, actually. You have to, I mean, there are a lot, so you have to check them out. Yes, and yeah, that's a date, PHP date. What else can we look? I think that's it for this tutorial. You also have functions for example, echo rand. Let's see. Which is gonna give you a random number, which is good if you use like hashing functions and you want to pass random numbers inside every time. Yeah, so you see it's changing over time. What else we have? The round is very good. So round, if I say 10.5, it's gonna be 11. If I say 0.4, it's gonna be 10. So it rounds the number. So this is it. I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope you learned something, and I see you in the next video. Take care, make sure you like and subscribe, and stay awesome.